High school kids in Colorado walk out of multiple schools after refusing to comply with mask mandates. And here we can see one kid holding up a sign that says, "My body, my choice." Interesting how that one works. This story from Cassandra Fairbanks. Dozens of high school kids walked out of Denver area schools on Thursday after refusing to comply with a mask mandate imposed on them. The Thunder Ridge High School students held signs saying "My body, my choice" and told reporters that those who are scared of the virus should stay home after walking out of class around 9:30 a.m. They were joined by nearby middle school students and their parents. Students from Legend High School in Douglas County also held a protest against the mandate. Here we have a bunch of videos of people walking out. The Tri-County Health Department announced earlier this week to require all students to wear masks, even those who have been vaccinated. The local CBS affiliate reports that they also prevented individual counties from opting out of public health orders. The order took effect on September 1st and is expected to remain in place for the entire school year. Now, here's what they have to say. Quote, "I believe that masks, they've been going for mostly 2 years now. I believe that masks, they've been going for mostly 2 years now. This is going to be the third year of my high school career that's compromised. I want a normal high school career there. If you are scared, you could stay home," said student Austin Knapp as they rallied. "These people agree with me. They hate masks, and I do too," said another student. The Denver Channel reports that Thunder Ridge High School students were joined by Ranch View Middle School students and their parents. Quote, "There's enough parents and there's enough scientific data to show otherwise, that this is just not a necessary option that they have to take. And there are enough students that feel the same way," said parent Amy Ellis. Now, I actually don't know all the data. You know why? It's changed so much. I honestly have no idea. I know there were some studies saying they found limited efficacy. There were some studies saying the real problem was being indoors because of recirculated air. And there was recently a study that said, yes, actually, masks did reduce transmission. So I can't give anybody advice on this stuff because everybody claims to have the science, and I don't know. But I can tell you this. When Bannon said parents would be mad, I don't know if he expected the kids to get mad too and the kids to come out. But if the parents and the kids, and this is just one location, it's cause for optimism. We got some good news, huh?
And this is the first time in the history of civilization that we have a plague or a pandemic that seems to exempt children miraculously, right? The bubonic plague didn't do that. Black Death, SARS, other illnesses sort of hit the population equally. This for some bizarre reason has not affected kids. And yet we're punishing kids like we're treating them like they are as susceptible as adults. It does seem bizarre.
It also doesn't seem to hit people without comorbidities, which is very strange.
Yeah.
There are kids who have died.
Absolutely.
But the number is very, very small relative to the highest risk factor is over 40. No. And so if you look at the CDC data, it drops down significantly. I think obesity was a huge factor. The CDC says around a third of all hospitalizations are obese.
What I want to know is at what point do you have COVID and then be considered infected with COVID? Because the virus can be there and not hurting you at all. Well, and then are you considered infected at that point?
Yes, semantically you're infected, right? So there's actually a lot of viruses people have all the time, but they're asymptomatic. I was reading about I was covering the Ebola outbreak years ago and Zika and stuff. That's why I actually interviewed people at the CDC, and it was really cool actually. They explained how Ebola is a terrible virus, not because it's like physically terrible and people are like, bleh, but because it's so aggressive that it becomes so presentable that it stops its ability to transmit. They said good viruses are the ones you have every day that don't make you sick because they've successfully infected you without triggering your body's immune response, and they're not killing you so they can perpetuate.
So COVID's getting more intelligent as it's evolving to Delta, which is less
intelligent
lethal,
isn't the right word.
Or less lethal, but more infective, I think Delta is.
That's the general trajectory of viruses, as far as I understand it, at least.
Maybe intelligent is the right word, but that is a good point. Basically, the virus is becoming more successful. Right. It's more transmissible and less deadly, which means more people are going to get it. They're going to experience severe symptoms to a lesser degree, but they're going to get sick with it. And that's basically what the CDC was saying to me, that there's a lot of viruses that don't cause enough damage to harm you, so the virus goes on forever and spreads around like crazy. But COVID in its earlier stages was a bad virus. Like it was bad for its own propagation. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can understand where these kids are coming from, because when you are 15, 16, your window of experience is very few years, right? So every minute that is lost feels like an eternity. Like being a kid waiting for Christmas morning was forever, right? If you've gone through all of the second half of freshman year, all of your sophomore year, now you're beginning junior year, and you can't play a sport, you can't go to a dance, you're still... I too would feel like I am losing these very few precious high school years, and I'm stuck in a bubble. I can see them being protesting.
Just the other day, I looked at my watch and I'm like, it's September already. Like, what's going on? I'm old, you know, so 35.
Wild.
Yeah.
Oof,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, 35, man.
And do you still, even though we're old, do you still get nervous when you see back to school commercials? I saw one the other day on TV, and like my heart skipped a beat, like back to school, and I'm like, I haven't been in school in 30 years, and I was like, oh my god, back to school! I got so uncomfortable.
30 years?
Oh yeah, I'm old.
Really?
Yeah,
Are you going to say how old
we
you are?
we established this last time I was here. I am 11 years older than you.
Holy moly.
So you haven't been in school for 30
Great.
years?
40. Well, I guess 20 something years.
Yeah, all right, okay, because I was like, what are
Yeah.
you, 50?
No,
But
yeah.
it feels like 30. Is that
Feels
what you're
like
saying?
30, yeah.
The one comment that really stuck out to me in that article is, if you're scared, you can stay home. I thought that was a really interesting point, because I heard a family member recently say, that, they were explaining some of their hesitancies to go out and experience life, and they said, every time I go out, I have to be worried about what's going to happen to me. And that just struck me as so counterintuitive. And this kid's hit on something that's really vital. Is just like, if you're scared, then you can stay home. That's on you.
Well, we've inverted the script, you know. Now
Yeah.
it's like, if you're scared, you're hurting other people, and we should be allowed to go around being scared. I mean, this is who didn't see this coming?